A very quiet day at the FCC on the mainland, so we will first cross the Pacific to learn about what the U.S. Navy is doing with FM transmitters in Guam as a part of relief efforts in the region. And then we'll travel across the Atlantic for today's Dinger. Both of those stories coming up right now.
REC, FCC Today, B.G. Bradley.
This is FCC Today, the podcast for Thursday, June 1, 2023. Recovery efforts continue in Guam and in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands' southernmost island of Rota. The FCC's disaster information reporting system remains activated. Cell sites are starting to slowly recover on Guam, with 47% of these sites still reported as being out of service. 4,563 cable and wireline customers are still reported as being out of service, as well as 2 TV and 3 FM stations. Broadcast infrastructure providers are urged to report their status into DIRS on a daily basis by 10 p.m. local time, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Over the past few days, we've been reporting on a special temporary authority that was granted to the U.S. Navy to operate in the FM broadcast band during the recovery effort. REC Networks has reached out to the Navy regarding their broadcast operations in the disaster area. The Navy told REC that the USS Nimitz and other assets assigned to the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group were on station within 72 hours, postured to help assist Department of Defense assets on Guam in the combined efforts for disaster recovery across Guam and the CNMI. Due to severely degraded communications across the island of Guam, the Carrier Strike Group is using FM radio stations for the broadcasting of information about the status of DoD installations and military services on Guam. The broadcasts include information regarding access to the installations, Navy exchange, Army Air Force exchange, commissary hours, gas station availability, Child Development Center access, and general safety measures for base residents. The operation is being conducted using 150-watt FM transmitters that are located on board ships, as well as 1-kilowatt transmitters located on board carrier-based aircraft. The frequencies being used for this operation are 94.7, 98.3, 98.5, 98.7, and 103.7. The Nimitz Carrier Strike Group will continue to assist the people of Guam as directed by the DoD.
FCC Today.
There was no enforcement activity at the FCC today, so we will have to extend the reach of dingers across the pond to the United Kingdom, where broadcast giant Bauer Radio Limited learned their fate as a result of their decision to prematurely shut down the AM service of Absolute Radio prior to the expiration of the license term in April 2031. Absolute Radio is one of 2 independent national radio services operating in the UK on the AM band. The network is the former BBC Radio 3 network, which operated its key transmitters on 1215 kilohertz. Citing rising energy costs, climate responsibility, and a sharply declining listenership in the mode, Bauer notified UK regulator Ofcom on December 2, 2022, that they intend to relinquish the license and that the shutdown of the network would start on January 23rd, 2023. On January 26, 2023, Bauer notified Ofcom that all AM transmitters have been shut down. Even though Absolute left the AM airwaves, the service is still available on digital audio broadcasting and through various other platforms. Bauer's authority to broadcast on AM was recently renewed in 2021. In correspondence with Ofcom, Bauer also cited the government's desire to phase out all broadcasting on medium wave AM in the mid-2020s. Bauer also notes that the other national AM licensee, TalkSport, was recently given authority to reduce the number of AM transmitters that they have on the air. They also cited the fact that BBC Local Radio and commercial licensees have also been shutting down their AM facilities due to the decline in listenership due to other platforms, as well as increased costs. UK law requires that Ofcom impose a penalty for shutting down a facility early. The maximum penalty for such a shutdown under Ofcom guidelines is £250,000 or 7% of its qualifying revenue, whichever is greater. Based on the various circumstances surrounding the shutdown, including a finding made by Ofcom which took into consideration coverage from DAB, digital television, and fixed broadband services, the number of people in the UK that would actually no longer receive the service is only approximately 4,400 people. Ofcom imposed a penalty of £25,000 or just over $31,000 US. Just 2 months prior, RTE, the national public broadcaster for the Republic of Ireland, shut down its long-wave service on 252 kHz, citing costs and the availability of spare parts. And in March 2021, RTE also shut down operations on DAB, citing a low listener rate compared to the other platforms that the 5 exclusively digital networks are also available through. Even though UK broadcaster Radio Caroline is trying to buck the trend by requesting a power increase to their 648 kHz frequency, once used as a powerhouse by the BBC World Service, the overall trend in the European region is to shut down medium wave and long wave services, and in some places, analog FM services in favor of digital platforms.
FCC Today.
FCC Today, the podcast, has been a production of REC Networks, always on at recnet.com. The podcast is also available through Podbean, TuneIn, Apple Podcast, iHeart, and on the Michelle Bradley YouTube channel. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell to be informed of new episodes. Keep up to the minute with events around the Media Bureau at FCC.today. If you need assistance with an FM broadcast facility, give us a call at 202-621-2355. Unless major news breaks on Friday, we'll be back next week. I'm Michelle Bradley, KU3N, SBE Certified Broadcast Technologist. Thank you for listening.
REC.